Another perfect bite. Excuse me. I'm so dirty right now. Apologize. Hey everybody, Alonzo here with Gulf Coast Smoke, and today I'm bringing you an awesome video. So what I'm going to be smoking today is 6 St. Louis style spare ribs on my Weber Smokey Mountain, and I'm absolutely excited to show you how we're going to do these. So we're going to do 2 racks with HOWTOBBQRIGHT rubs and 2 racks with Meat Church rubs, my 2 all-time favorite pitmasters. We're actually going to wrap these the same. We're going to smoke them the same. We're going to use the same wood. We're going to do everything exactly the same. And in the end, to show you how we cook the Gulf Coast Smoke way. All right, so you're probably wondering how I'm going to get 6 racks of ribs on this Weber Smokey Mountain. Don't worry, I'm going to show you that just in a second. But what I do want to let you know is today we are trying to get a competition style taste and flavor on these ribs. So I'm not going to use post oak today. I'm actually going to be using some hickory and cherry chunks. So let's go ahead and load this up. We're going to use that minion method again, just like I showed you last time. Like I said, I'm not going to get into too much detail. If you guys are interested, leave a comment below and I'll actually do a full detailed video on what the minion method is. So again, let me go ahead and get this thing loaded up. We'll be right back. Alright, so as I told you guys before, we are going to be cooking these St. Louis style spare ribs today. I like to square it up here a little bit. Try and find the bone. Okay. Yeah. Might take you a minute. Now one of the things that we do, and you should do every time that you smoke ribs, is you need to take this membrane off the back. Now with beef ribs, you can keep the membrane on because it tends to get so tender, it'll actually fall away from the bone, but that's not going to happen here. And this is actually a barrier. So you're not going to be able to get any rubs through this barrier unless you take it off. So what I recommend you do is take a little butter knife, get right under that membrane, pop it up. You see how it kind of comes up? Use your thumb, pull it up a little bit, grab you a paper towel, pull the rest right off. And you said you can see it's pretty darn simple. There's a little bit left over. Don't worry about that. We're going to get that real quick. So now, let's show you what we're going to season these up with. Like I mentioned earlier, we're going to be using 2 of our favorite pitmaster rubs. It's going to turn out great. All right, so now what we're talking about is our barbecue style spare ribs. And what I'm going to be hitting this rack with today is going to be some honey hog and some holy gospel from Meat Church Barbecue. Like I said, one of my favorite pitmasters. This is a great combination. This honey hog is a sweet combo. This gospel is a more savory all-purpose rub. So I'm going to go ahead and lay down a small layer of mustard, and this is just going to act as a binder. This isn't very much, as you can see. Rub it in. Then we're going to start with a light layer of the honey hog. Never actually rub it in, because then your rub is actually going to go to one side and it's going to clump, and then it's going to be uneven. Just pat it in lightly. And now we're going to top with our holy gospel. You're going to see this nice red color shining through on that. Like I said, I really love this rub. Try this on chicken wings and it's absolutely awesome. So what we're going to do is we're going to let that hang out for a second. We're going to go ahead and throw these on the smoker. So now onto the killer hog ribs. Again, we're going to start off with a small layer of mustard. Nothing crazy. Like I said, this is just a binder. You're not going to be able to taste this mustard in the end. Then we're going to hit it with some hot barbecue. And you don't have to go too crazy with this. This is just a base layer. You are going to get a pretty decent amount of heat from that. You see a nice red color. Pat it in. And then for a sweet, savory, and a really nice red color, we're going to use the BBQ Rub by Killer Hogs. And you can see this is going to come over, and that's going to give a really nice color to it. These ribs, I tell you what, for sure on these ribs, I know the color is going to be outstanding, and the flavor is also going to be good, but the color on these, it's pretty hard to beat. So again, I'm going to season the other side. We're going to wait about 30 minutes. We're going to head to the smoker, and next, we're finally going to put them on. So we're out at the pit. It's rocking right at 275. Like I told you guys, my Weber Smokey Mountain treats me right every single time. That's why I love her.
As I told you in the last video, that thin blue smoke, that's what we're looking for. You can see it here. It's raining here in Portland, Texas again. I don't know what it's been lately. The weather doesn't like to be nice, but like I told you guys before, this is just what we do. We're not going to let that stop us. We're still going to smoke these ribs today. So I told you earlier we're doing 6 racks. And I'm going to show you how you can do 6 racks on this Weber Smokey Mountain on the top rack alone. So check this out. I got myself a rib rack here that can actually hold 8 racks of ribs. We're not going to need to use 8, but this is a cool device. We're going to test it out today, show you guys how it does. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to let these roll for at least 2 hours before I check them again. In 2 hours we'll come back. I'll show you what I will spritz these with if they need them. If not, around the 2 hour mark is when we're going to wrap them up, and I'll show you what we're going to wrap them with here in just a little bit. But for now, let's let the Weber do its work. Okay, so we've been smoking these ribs for about an hour and a half now, and I think it's a perfect time to go ahead and check them. What we're looking for is the color, if there's any drying out, and just overall how they're doing. We can kind of gauge how the cookie's going based off of what they look like. So if we're looking at dry ribs at the moment, we're going to want to spritz them. And what I like to spritz with is just half and half apple cider vinegar and water. I prefer not to use apple juice. To me, there's a little too much sugar in that. It can actually make your ribs a little bit darker than you're going to want them in the end. So that's why I choose to go with the spritz I like. But let's take a look at them together and see what we're working with. Okay, so as you can see, these ribs are looking absolutely money. These meat church ribs right here, you can see that holy gospel. The pepper, the red mahogany color, it's looking so good. And these Texas ribs right in the middle, those are looking money as well, don't get me wrong. I really like the red color on these How to Barbecue Right ribs. I mean, everything is looking really good. I'm liking the way it's going. I don't think we need to spritz at the moment. You can still see moisture through and through on these, and I don't think we need to do anything. Let's just keep them rocking and let's let them roll. So now that we've had these ribs on for about 2.5 hours, I want to take one more peek at them. I want to see if it's time to wrap them up. So again, what we're looking for is that nice color. Make sure they're not drying out. See if there's a little bit of drawback on those ribs. And if we do have drawback, I'll show you exactly what I'm talking about. So let's take a look. Oh yeah, these are right where I want them right now. It's a perfect time to wrap. You can see on these bones here, they're starting to pull away from the meat, and that's exactly what I want. The color's looking right on all of these. It's time to wrap them up, and we're going to get them tender as can be. So for these barbecue style ribs, we are wrapping them differently. We're using foil, but we're going to be wrapping with a mixture of butter, barbecue sauce, honey, brown sugar, and yes, this is Frank's as well. I'll show you how we're going to use this. I don't use too much, but I do think it gives it a great flavor. So what I like to do is I like to start with a base layer of some Parquet butter. And then I like to use some brown sugar, scatter it across. Try and get it even. You don't want it to be too clumpy. Honey. Honey for the money, baby. That's what Malcolm Reed says. And a little bit of our Killer Hogs vinegar sauce. This stuff you're going to love. Try this stuff out. I guarantee you're going to love it. Meat right on all of that. So on the back, we're going to simplify it just a little bit. We are going to use that butter. And we are going to use a little more brown sugar. Not as much. I like to go a little lighter on the back. And then from here, that's where our Frank's comes in. Hit the back with some Frank's. And wrap it up tight as you can. So that's how we're going to do our barbecue style ribs. I'm going to go ahead and wrap up the other 3. We're going to put them right back on the pit. And like I said, we are cooking these until they get tender as can be. They're going to be absolutely money. I can't wait to see what everyone thinks of them. So these ribs cooked in this glaze for about an hour. And I just want to go ahead and see how they feel. See what the temperatures are reading. So it's feeling really good. It's about 206, 207 degrees. And you can see that's right where I want it. With spare ribs, they can go a little bit longer. They're gonna taste great. I love the way they look. I love the way they feel. Look at that color. They've been bathing in that sauce, brown sugar, honey, for a while. I know they absorbed all that good flavor. So let's go ahead and take them off, slice them up, and see how everybody likes them. Okay, so we're finally back inside. Smoked those ribs for about 4 hours. They bathed in that butter, brown sugar, honey mixture. I know they're gonna taste great. The point of this video was to see what was gonna be a better bite, Killer Hogs versus Meat Church. And right now, we're gonna go ahead and cut into these and we're gonna see how they taste. So what I personally like to do in the end of my cook, I actually like to hit them with a little bit more rub. So that's what I've done here today. I just took the 2 rubs I used on these ribs and I hit them on the top again. And they have a nice little color. You can see they have a nice little texture. And I think that gives them a nice little bite. What I also like to do when I cut is flip these bad boys over, make it a little bit easier. Find them bones. They're cutting really nice. We're almost about to have an accident there. Cutting really nice. I like the way they feel. I think they're gonna have a really good bite to them. You see a nice little smoke ring, moisture. When I squeeze that rib, you see the juices flowing both sides. The Weber Smokey Mountain always does its job. Let's see what it tastes like. Perfect bite through. Delicious flavor. I instantly get, excuse me, I'm all dirty. I instantly get that honey. I get a little bit of pop from that hot barbecue sauce. And honestly, this is just such a good rib. I mean, this is something I would take to a competition and try and do good with. But don't forget, we still have another set of ribs to try. So let's go ahead and do that. I'm gonna put this one to the side, move this off a little bit. Same thing, flip them over. Again, moisture, juicy rib. It's looking really good. Let's see how it tastes. Another perfect bite. Excuse me. I'm so dirty right now. Apologize. But I mean, instantly right off the bat, I get that pepper from that Meat Church rib. I'm sorry, from that Meat Church rub. Pepper comes through right on that Holy Gospel. Tastes delicious. The sweet from that honey hog goes really, really well with this rib. Overall, they are a little bit different of a bite, but man, I don't know. It's really hard to say which one's better. Like I said, this taste test is just for fun. These are my 2 all-time favorite pitmasters, and I just want to show you guys that you can get different flavor profiles with different people's rubs. So again, if I had to give you some advice on which one you might be looking for, this Killer Hogs, you get a nice little bite from it. You do have a little bit of heat, and it is delicious. It's not too much. It's not overbearing or anything like that. And with this Meat Church rib, you do get a nice spice, but that's from the peppers, and you also have a lot of sweet in the background on that too. So me personally, I'm calling it a tie. They both taste absolutely delicious, and they're both just different types of rubs. They're not exactly the same, but again, Meat Church, Killer Hogs, I definitely say that these are 2 of the best guys in the business. I just really like both of these guys, and I figured I would show my channel what I think of them, and hopefully you guys can try them soon. Now, if you guys have another recipe you'd like me to try, leave it down in the comments below, and I can try it on the next one. But until next time, thanks for tuning in. We appreciate it.